And we're
Oh,
live.
yay.
All right. So, do you guys want to talk about kind of what we're talking about today? Give a little wrap up.
I literally
Even
got home and I have no idea what we're talking about, so
Oh,
all the
I'm a
better. It
little,
makes it more live.
it's more interesting for me.
literally.
Give me
And I
two
could fall asleep at
seconds.
any point, just kidding.
Oh, well.
I'm actually ready for bed too. Like I don't know what it is. I'm having such a rough day today.
Hmm.
Oh my god, me.
Oh, I have like a fever, even though I feel fine.
Oh,
Hey.
Oh, that's so weird. It looks so different now. Our weekly update.
okay.
Yeah, the chat bar looks weird.
That part's interesting.
Super chat. Oh, you do have super chat. Cool.
For
Fluffy
our
with the roller coaster emoji.
Oh, there's a place in Ontario where the dolphins dance in a million of from big to small. We've got something.
There's a
Everyone
place.
loves Marine.
Ryan.
Yes, everyone
Are we
does.
supposed to sing that?
Oh God, I don't have time to sing. I'm going to Wonderland with
Where's
friends.
Cameron?
Hey, have
No
fun.
singing.
who's going to Wonderland?
Sorry.
Me.
Oh,
Oh,
sweet. I'll be there tomorrow. I don't know what time I'm going tomorrow because I think I might wait for a certain time to make sure a certain something doesn't arrive. I don't
Oh,
think it'll be there in the morning.
watch them have to pay parking to bring in like track or something.
oh,
It's like, sir,
All
by law,
right.
we have to make you pay. All right, I'm ready.
I'm ready to now. I just got to
I'm
get the chat
ready.
back up.
I just saw your face pop up on my screen, and that's creepy
Oh,
because you posted on
Who's
Facebook.
Easterns?
No, Brendan's.
Track,
Oh.
track, track. Okay, so today's kind of a big update, but small at the same time, so that's weird. So why don't we get started right off the bat? So we'll
Ooh.
go big. So Cedar Point, we got some exciting news. Blackjack is in use, which is really great. This is a great sign that blackjack was being used for what we assume is spare parts, and it looks like now maybe they have their spare parts on site. Blackjack was put back together and it's operational. They're still only running 2 trains, from what I understand, but it's a great sign that they are able to run 3 trains whenever they are given the green light. Do you guys have anything to say about that? We'll start with you, Poblast.
I did not see that coming personally. I heard rumors about it, but wow. Like 3 trains coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good shot. I think the ride at the moment can't run 3 trains due to block issues, but it's a good sign that they have the third one going.
Yeah, we've been hearing,
So,
right? They're not using the mid-course brake run as a block, right? That's what we're
no,
hearing.
what I've heard from multiple people now is it has to pull onto the final brake run before they send out the train.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
mm-hmm.
All right, how about you, Eastern?
Well, ever since the quote unquote bumper cars incident, as we know, they've only been running 1 train and they just started running 2 trains. And the fact that they're starting to run blackjack, uh, really good, like, chance that they might start running 3 trains. And, hopefully they can start running 3 trains by the end of the year, since summer normally is, high crowds for Cedar Point. And, if they got this third train back on up and running and they had all 3 trains running, I think it'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm. And you, Fluffy?
One thing that I've been noticing about it is all these RMCs that could be running 3 trains, like Railblazer, for instance, they haven't started running 3 trains. I don't. For CGA now, it's a restraint problem with the yellow train, so they're going to continue running 2 trains with the green train at some certain people who think it's gray. And they are also running red train. But hopefully they can start running 3 trains on Railblazer soon because the ops, they feel like they're going to need it soon, especially with some summer crowds and definitely when Haunt comes because that's always the busiest time of year for CGA. And I think that I think that if Steel Vengeance can run 3 trains, that would be great because obviously everybody comes all around from all around the world just to ride this one world-class coaster, and it'd be a shame if people would have to still wait the normal 4-hour line. So
Yeah. Now, they'll obviously get their stuff figured out. I mean, RMC still, and people are gonna get triggered by this, but I still consider them a fairly new company. So I think they'll get over it.
Definitely.
All right, so I'm gonna read a comment just because someone said a comment, a couple comments. So I think they're messing with the mid course and trying to get it to a certain speed. And Lightning Rod is the one who has cursed RMC with the trains.
Oh my God, so true.
All right, so we talk about this all the time, and we're going to continue to talk about it all the time just because it is going to be big when it happens. We all know it's going to be big when it happens, but Cedar Point's new coaster. So what do you think is coming to Cedar Point? Is there anything over the last week that's changed your opinion? I'm going to say no because nothing's really happened yet. So we'll bring this, well, you guys can say if you've changed your mind, and I'll just start getting like their comments ready if anyone has anything to say about this. So we'll start with you, Coblast.
Ooh, starting with me again. Cool. I am still full on B&M Flyer. It's not going to change for a long time, I think, unless we see wooden coaster footers being poured. So I'm still full out Flyer. Or like they could catch me by surprise with a different type of steel coaster, but I'm definite Flyer. So yeah.
What about you, Eastern?
You know, the main two rumors that everyone's been saying for Cedar Point is a B&M Flyer or a GCI wooden coaster. I personally think they're gonna go with the B&M Flyer. One, because you know it would kind of complete, or it would help them add another B&M to the park, and it kind of almost complete their family. Besides like Hyper and Giga, but they'd have every like popular B&M model. Like they have the invert, the floorless, the wing coaster, the dive coaster, and adding in the Flyer would just add in well to their B&M coaster lineup. Also, they might add to like rival Magic Mountain, since Magic Mountain right now is like their biggest competition coaster wise. And adding in a B&M Flyer they can make it the tallest, fastest, and longest. That way, it could strip away all of Tatsu's records. So I definitely think B&M Flyer is very possible for Cedar Point in 2020. But I'm not saying that GCI won't happen. I think a GCI could potentially happen, but I do see a Flyer. I do see a Flyer being more likely.
All right, and what about you, Fluffy?
Well, Eastern. Tatu is not the world's longest flying coaster anymore. It's actually Fly at Phantasialand. I think that I got that right. But I think if they were going to go for a steel coaster, they would definitely be going for a B&M Flyer. I do think that it would be a record-breaking coaster. But yeah, I really do think it's going to be a record-breaking coaster. And then if it's a GCI, we could also be seeing a bit of a record-breaking coaster for who knows. I mean, who knows? I do think that they're going to break some more records since we've seen them break a bunch of records in the past. And I think they're going to continue doing that. So whatever coaster that they put in and add to their huge collection, it's going to be a record-breaking coaster, especially for the 150th anniversary. Definitely record-breaking.
Oh, for sure. And then what do you guys, so I'm going to read some of the comments they've been putting. Basically, it's like GCI, RMC, no B&M Flyer, GCI, B&M Strata, B&M Flyer, RMC T-Rex, GCI, and family B&M Flyer. We're getting lots of interesting mixes. It's definitely GCI in this chat is for the win. And then there's also the last one, chain lift 430 feet coaster to replace Magnum. That is a pretty popular rumor too, but I don't know if that rumor has any merit. But yeah, definitely I think a flyer is going to come, but it seems like, if the fans are going to have a say about it, a GCI would be the chosen one. All right. Kennywood. So
Kennywood.
this is interesting because no one even knows what this. It's not like Wonderland where everyone knows what the coaster is going to be, or like even other parks like Cedar Point had really bad luck where everyone ends up knowing what the coaster is going to be way before the announcement. This one's actually a mystery. So we got our fourth clue. Kennywood, I guess, got really excited and released a fourth one kind of right after the third one. So the numbers are 220, 24, 197, and 3. So if I had to take a guess, 220 is either the height or the duration of the ride, so 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And 197 is either the height or I don't know what else it could be. Could be, I don't know. 24 is probably capacity. 3 is maybe inversions. We'll need more clues for me to fill in the blanks. But what do you think, Coblast, about this?
Okay, I think the number 3 refers to the number of trains that the ride can possibly run. Honestly, if they go for like a super high capacity ride. Mm-hmm. That being said, Kennywood does not look like they don't have the coasters that run super high capacity, like 3 train operations on all of them. So it's hard to say. But I literally have no idea what the other 3 numbers mean.
Yeah, it's hard. But
that's the only one that pops into mind.
Seth brought up a good point. So he said 197 could be the drop, but I think it's the other way around. 220 is maybe the height, and then 197 is maybe the drop.
But do they need another hypercoaster? That's the thing.
Depends. It really depends. Maybe it's just gonna be a hyper looper by Mach or Intamin.
The picture of Helix is kind of interesting because that seems like a popular addition now with the Copperhead Strike coming to Carowinds and after Time Traveler. So we could see something like that.
For sure. What about you, Eastern?
At this point, Kennywood literally has me like kerfuffled. Like, I literally have no clue what they're gonna do. I mean, basically, I think 3 could be anything at this point. I think it could be trains, launches, or inversions, because people have been saying that it could have a launch, and people also have been saying that it could have a lift hill. 97, I'm thinking that's either the height or the drop of this coaster. 24, I can agree with that. I think it is the capacity of the trains. And 220, that either could be the height or the drop as well, or it also could be length. At this point, I mean, Kennywood's, they've literally have us kerfuffled right now because I have no clue what this coaster is going to be, but all we know is that this coaster is going to be
great. Awesome. What about you, Fluffy?
I've heard that so we went from Soaring with Dragon to a whole nother coaster. That could possibly be another type of addition that it could possibly be. For 3, it could. So excluding the 220 and 197, 3 could possibly mean 3 trains, 3 launches, and 3 inversions. Because everyone's just saying, oh, it's only going to be one of them, but it could possibly actually be all 3 of them. But that being said, if the 220 and 197 are height and drop, then that excludes launches, because I think that they would, because I don't think that they would put in a launched hyper with 3 inversions, and I don't know. So if 222 and 197 is the height and drop, I think we're looking at possibly a coaster with a chain lift, which means launches is out of the equation. So it could possibly still be 3 inversions though. But 24 capacity, 24 riders per train. That sounds about right. But I think what we're really getting tripped up on is the 220, 197, and 3.
I feel like they're releasing them in weird orders on purpose for this reasoning. All right. What about let's see if I don't think anyone 24 inversions is coming up. That's definitely not gonna happen. Uh inversions is coming up a lot. Yeah, and it's just like a lot of other seeing if I missed anything.
I was gonna say 24 inversions. Are we getting an infinity coaster at that park or something? Like Smiler 2.0?
Is someone sick with the coughing kerfuffles?
Okay, when Easton said that, I literally died inside, so.
All right, I'm gonna go on to the next one. So Six Flags Magic Mountain. They have
Wow.
construction walls that just went up. I couldn't put the photo up because I didn't have time to go ask for permission to use it. But here is Val Raven, because this seems to be, like on our last weekly update, the most popular rumor going around. Now, Six Flags Magic Mountain is also a really tough one to figure out what they're going to add, because there is no base to any rumor going around right now. There's no like, oh yeah, like something was filed, or this name seems like it would match a dive coaster. I think everyone's just assuming it because Magic Mountain, from what I'm understanding, is kind of out of room-ish. It's kind of like Wonderland, where they're like, every investment counts and they have to pick the right investments. And I think that's why a lot of people are assuming dive. Correct me down below if I'm wrong, anyone. But I don't have much to say about this yet. I think, again, I'm going to be making a video about this and Canada's Wonderland's dive, because I think there's a huge story to tell there that I'll get into later. I think that has this, if Six Flags Magic Mountain is getting a dive, I think this has a play into why Wonderland's is going to be tall. But what do you think, Code Blast? And I'll start responding to comments.
I still don't think this park's gonna get a dive coaster, like, or any B&M coaster at this point, because the way Six Flags is going now, just buying up all the parks and stuff, they don't seem to have, in my opinion, enough money to buy anything from B&M. So I'm not sure what they would get. I feel like they'd get something, maybe they wouldn't work with Gerstlauer again, probably from like maybe a T-Rex from RMC or something. If they debut the first one there, that would work. But I still don't think any B&M is going to that park in the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, it's a tough one.
And everyone's going to yell at me after I said that now.
No, I don't think anyone really wants. I'm going to throw shade at dive coasters, but you all know that I love dive coasters. But I understand the enthusiast community hates dive coasters. So I don't think anyone's going to give you hate for saying that you don't think it's going to be a dive coaster. I think you're going to have a huge following. It's going to be like Co-Blast for president.
Okay, cool. I've always wanted
Co-Blast
to be
for president 2020.
Nah.
And how about you, Eastern? What do you think?
Well, this is Magic Mountain we're talking about, and Magic Mountain always tries to rival Cedar Point. Cedar Point always tries to rival Magic Mountain. And I mean, you can have the argument that they haven't worked with B&M in a while, but still the B&Ms are under like 15. Well, they're like max 15 million, because correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Val even around 15 million or so?
18 to, I don't know. I think 22 is ringing in my head. Correct. Seth, you're in here. If you're still in here, how much did Valraven cost? It was between like 18 and 22 million, I think. 18 and 22 million. So if Six Flags really wanted to get a dive coaster, I mean, if they wanted to go all out, especially since they're trying to hit 20 coasters, I definitely could see them going with the dive coaster. The GP would love it. They're, hanging you at a 90-degree angle, then dropping straight down. The GP would love it, and it'd give the park another great roller coaster. Although, the last time Six Flags worked with B&M was in 2012 with X-Flight, and I think that if they work with B&M, it has to be a big comeback, and I think a dive could definitely be that comeback for this. I mean, although, is it likely? Maybe not. I could see something else like a T-Rex or something that's like a world first. But if anything, maybe just maybe it might be a taste of like other rides if they don't get a dive coaster. But I think a dive coaster is possible for Magic Mountain's future. Yeah. So
you're cutting out a little bit, Eastern.
The dive coaster at Valraven. I don't know what I was going to say. The dive coaster at Cedar Point. Valraven cost $25 million.
$25 million. Okay.
I'm hearing 22 million from someone else. So 22 million is the correct answer.
Yeah, so if it's that much, then Six Flags. Well, if Six Flags want to go all out, then maybe. But most likely, knowing Six Flags nowadays with doing their copy and paste rides like Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and all that stuff, maybe not. But if they have this as their 20th coaster, then yes, I can see them going all out for this coaster. Yep.
What about you, Fluffy? Oh,
Ooh, there we go. I was muted. I don't actually know.
Right.
Because as much as we think it's going to be a dive, I don't know if it actually is going to be a dive. I really am confused because currently we actually don't know like anything. We don't know like if they've even filed any permits for this yet or just anything. So I'm not too sure what's gonna happen or what's gonna happen with this project, but to be honest, I don't even know if they're gonna get a coaster or not. I mean, who knows? What if Six Flags is just getting a head start on this project since Crazy isn't even done? But yeah, we don't really know.
It's a tough one to call. All right. And I'm getting a racing Mac multi-launch coaster. To be honest, I can't see that. Too expensive for Six Flags right now. I can see a Mac multi-launch, but not a racing. But who knows? Again, we don't really know this park. Magic Mountain is like the Cedar Point of the chain. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of people saying either dive or Mac multi-launch. So let's move on to a little bit. Let's just dive right in deep to this. So this is obviously really sad news and unexpected, like really unexpected. So the owner of Marineland has died at 83. We recently just found out about an hour ago that they said that the park will still operate as normal. That leaves a big question in everyone's head. Is Marineland going to close? Does this mean its future is bleak? And I personally say yes. I don't see anyone in his family wanting to run Marineland, especially because of all the negative attention. I think this is a great place in that family's point to just kind of like put it up for sale and move along. And hopefully, fingers crossed, an amusement park company buys it and not some, billionaire to sell it for residential business use. But yeah, the land's definitely going to get put up for sale, in my opinion. And we just got to cross our fingers that someone's eyeing it, like Disneyland, Six Flags, Cedar Fair, any of them, Universal SeaWorld, like anyone. But I honestly don't know at this point, and I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope for the best. How about you, Kobless?
I feel like as of now, I just need to go and get those credits before the park closes because it's gonna be slim. Like I feel like the family's gonna milk the money that they can for the next maybe 5 years if they put it up for sale, and then it's done if it doesn't get sold. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that one.
And you, Eastern?
I think Marineland might be seeing its final days. I mean, the fact that you have to pay like 50 to 80 just to go there and ride 5 or 6 rides and see some shows. I feel like that's a really high price to do only that much. And sure, it's near like Niagara Falls, but like still paying that much money for only like a couple of like coasters and some flat rides, like it's definitely going to be hard. And the fact that it is hard to run, an amusement park, I'm assuming. So even though it's a family business, like I don't know if the members might want to like deal with that just because of how much stress it might put on them. So I think Marineland might be closing. And as to like who obtains the land, I don't really know. However, whoever obtains it's gonna have to do a lot of work to that park, maybe close it down for a bit just to like renovate it and fix it, give it a revamp rather. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how about you, Fluffy? Sorry, I'm just like laughing at some of the comments.
I'm not too sure on. I think it's definitely going to be sold. I don't know who or what or who's interested in the property. If Six Flags buys it, then that would mean that we have another Six Flags park with animals in it, along with Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. So I'm wondering. So I wonder if they're gonna, because if they buy it or if they start to own it, then that means that they'll be able to be getting something every single year, which would help out in the crowds there. Like it would boost attendance. To be honest, if Six Flags does buy it, I do think it'll be the next Laurent, sorry, Code Blast, or the next Six Flags America. So, I mean, I really don't know what's going to happen to it, and hopefully it gets sold to a good company.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess best wishes to his family and his coworkers. But we're gonna move along. Oh God.
How is this Laurent? We actually have rides. Like, what the hell?
I agree. So Incredicoasters opened, or soft opened, whatever you want to call it. And I'm gonna give my personal review of what I've seen. I haven't been there, I haven't been on it, so my review is biased and also not to be taken too seriously because I haven't been there and I haven't been on it. But I've watched the on-ride POVs, I've looked at the area, and honestly, this looks like something Cedar Fair would have done. A smaller scale park. I'm really underwhelmed. I'm not impressed. The fact that they didn't even repaint that awful track that has like rusted a bit, I'm like, how do you retheme a whole attraction and not repaint it? I even know Cedar Fair would have the decency to do that. So I'm shocked. The effects look like something Cedar Fair could only afford. And I'm only using Cedar Fair as an example because I know them really well. And they're a smaller scale park. It's not an insult to Cedar Fair. But I honestly think that a lot of Cedar Fair's new attractions are going to be better themed than this coaster. I mean, I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section while everyone else is going through their review too. But I'm definitely going to give this a fail. I think it's a win because it's a great coaster and it's definitely really fun. So families are definitely going to enjoy the experience. But for Disney, it's a fail on my part. So what about you, Coblast?
It's a tough one, honestly, for me. Like, I've always wanted to go on California Screamin', like, for a long time, and when I found out it would be closing, and before they even announced like the retheme of it, I was a little bit shocked. Seeing this, the ride looks still pretty fun. They redid the queue, which is pretty cool, and all that stuff. There's some new effects on the ride. I'm more bummed out that the whole soundtrack is gone, and yeah, you're right. They didn't repaint the ride at all. Like, you can see the huge rust bucket from right before the brake run. Like, I don't know. It's a tough one. The ride still runs well, which is a plus, but it's hard to say.
What about you, Eastern?
Honestly, I feel like I'd give them a win for at least attempting to try and like theme it, because like I will admit California Screaming, it didn't really have a theme, like, and I don't really think too many of us can deny that. It's like Screaming in California, like that's literally the theme of the coaster. So I will say that it's a win that they attempted at the theming. However, the way they executed the theming for the coaster, I don't think they did that too well. I don't want to call it tacky, but I kind of want to call it tacky. Seems like something. I agree with you, Brendan. It seems like something Cedar Fair, even Six Flags would do, like with their theming, like give it like it wasn't. I thought Disney could do better with the coaster, and I think the station's nice. I think the queue line's nice, but the actual ride experience, like that, those effects, like I'm just surprised that they didn't do better, or and I think that because I feel like we all kind of hold Disney to high standards. And when they do something like this, we're all kind of surprised. We're like, whoa, like, what just happened? Like, So I'm kind of in the middle. I want to give them a win for theming, but I also want to give them a fail for how they executed it. So I'm kind of in the middle. So I'm basically right now or. like, not win, fail. Like, I'm kind of just or. Like, I'm literally like in the middle.
And how about you, Fluffy?
Straight up fail. I have the NorCal Ace representative, Nicholas. He was actually at the park yesterday, and he said that the queue was just some signage and a funny set of queue videos, and that's it. Highly disappointed, because if you look at Guardians, for example, which was everyone hated them for taking out Tower of Terror and then switching it to Guardians. You saw how well themed that was. And now you're looking at this, which is also one of their biggest attractions, and they did that. Now you're thinking about, is the rest of Pixar Pier going to be like this? And now I feel like Disney, I feel like they're already going to, Jaden, I feel like they're going to be retheming a lot of rides, which is going to accept anger quite a bit of people. But I think that, because like what in the tunnels during the daytime, it looks like they're using cardboard cutouts. It really does. It looks like you can literally just make it yourself. But I think where it shined was the nighttime POV, because in the nighttime, it was actually lit up a bit. Like the tunnels, they actually had a little bit of depth to them with the cardboard cutouts, I'm going to call them, are going to be, it's a little bit lit up, and then bam, you're done. I mean, to be honest, I don't even know if that station in the rendering is, because the station, yeah, that's a bit okay, but I think that for the station, it would have to be that exact thing in order to like get a win for me for a little bit of like design. But yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think it was a win at all.
Okay, I'm gonna read people's comments quickly. I'm gonna quickly go over them. Some people are saying Costa Peppa should ride this. The queue line was a fail, definitely a huge fail. Cedar Fair could do this better, blah, blah, blah. Just wondering, have any of you been on the ride? I answered that already. No, I don't think any of us have. Yeah, so we'll go on to the next one. Oh, who's making rustling noises?
Me. No, just kidding.
All right, so Canada's Wonderland, the final topic. So I'm going to quickly go over. So as many of you know, I say this every week, I make speculation and rumor videos. That is kind of what our channel specializes in. And with that, like not unlike other channels, I like to present hard facts with it. I'm never going to be that person that just presents something and I'm like, yeah, I just think it's going to be this. I'm going to present as much facts as I can, or I'm not going to talk about it. So in this next little bit, we're going to go over some CAD drawings presented by Art of Engineering. And we're going to go over just some of the facts that a lot of, unfortunately, Valraven fans have been coming at me over the last couple days about not believing this coaster is going to be taller than Valraven. So I'm just going to represent some of the facts and then show you some new CAD drawings and all that, just to show you what and how Amusement Insiders comes to these rumor and speculation videos. So I'm quickly going to go over all the slides and then we'll come back and talk about them. Okay, guys? All right. Okay. And then, so the first one, this is the original one. So our track is 10 by 9 bolts. Valraven's is 10 by 8 bolts. Yes, that doesn't always suggest a higher drop. It can relate to stress, and it usually can relate to the amount of seating on a dive coaster or a coaster in general, but it can also relate to height. It doesn't rule it out. There are just other aspects that play on that. But this is what kind of started that whole theory and speculation and rumor vids about this being a really tall coaster. Then we started speculating about a couple of other things, but we're going to get to the big ones that help us prove this. We have figured out the angle of ascent on the coaster. It is about 45 degrees, like most dive coasters. So it's between 45 and 47, like every typical dive coaster, which further proved that this coaster, with the amount of length of track it had to get into the tunnel, is going to be a taller coaster. If any of you remember, we were estimating between 255 feet and 292 feet, excluding the tunnel. So keep that in mind. These are some of the CAD drawings that Art of Engineering was really kind to whip up for us. And as you can see, they are very accurate. So another thing about our coaster compared to Valraven is it has a much larger pullout to that of many B&M coasters. It is way larger than Valraven. It is the same length as Leviathan. And it definitely works its way through a very long tunnel. And I'm explaining that because tunnels cost a lot of money, and a company isn't going to design a tunnel longer than it needs to be unless they have to, especially considering where it's located at Wonderland. They took up a lot of their firework hill for this dive coaster. Moving on to the next one is track should be arriving on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I say Tuesday or Wednesday because I have a feeling, just like when my drone was flying, that they're going to ship the track overnight. So it's probably going to come tomorrow night, Monday night, and arrive Tuesday, or it's going to come Tuesday night and arrive Wednesday. We have been hearing that it's going to arrive early on in the week. So those are the 3 dates we're going to pick. Fingers crossed it maybe even arrives tomorrow. I would love to get a closer look at our track and compare it to Valraven. But yeah, we'll go back to, and I think that's it. Okay, all of you already know the other facts about the coasters, lift hill being 90 meters, excluding the pre-lift and the arch at the top. Just so you know, the arch at the top on Valraven adds 40 feet to the coaster's height. We are excluding that from our measurements. So just keep that in mind. We're excluding a lot just to be safer with our predictions. But yeah, what do you guys think? We'll start with you, Coblast.
I don't really have much to say. I'm like a little bit tired, so. But can you go back a couple pictures, or is this the first one? Yeah, there we go. This thing, or no, the lift approach. Next one. There you go. That thing. If you look at the yellow track in the couple pictures from now, you see how it's like a little bit less of an angle on it than where the lift starts. That could mean that this isn't the actual angle of the lift either. So it could, the stake could be a little bit higher of an angle than that. So it could be like, if that's 45, that could be 47.
Oh,
so
for sure, yeah. Yeah, because the track's going to angle a little sharper than that actual angle itself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Otherwise, like just looking at this from Windseeker on Friday, it looked, the pre-lift area and the brake run and station looked pretty much all set, and we know exactly where it's going to be. Mm-hmm, and also possibly the entrance to the ride. Other than that, like beyond the first drop in the Immelman, it's really hard to tell at this point. And it still looks like there's more footers that need to be poured in the lake anyway.
Oh, for sure. They have a ton more to go.
As opposed to like the 10 bolts, we could still see a 10-seater, but I doubt it. Like I feel the trains are going to be exactly the same as Valraven's, minus like theming or whatever if they theme the trains.
Mm-hmm.
So like vest restraints with a good building to keep them all in and stuff. And other than that, what do you don't think?
Someone said I don't think it's 900 feet tall. What?
Watch it be 900 feet tall now.
All right, Eastern.
Okay, at this point in this coasters, like how much we've been speculating it and everything we've seen, I don't know. Like, I literally don't know. I mean, at this point, it could be a giga, it could be a 255-foot tall giga. I mean, not giga. A 255-foot tall dive coaster. The only thing is when I look at that, with the picture that you're on right now, when I look at that pullout, that looks quite steep. But I mean, it just seems like it goes like from like 45 degrees or like that angle around there to 0 pretty quickly. So I'm like pretty like interested to see like what the height is. I mean, at this point, it could be anything. Wonderland's doing an amazing job with this coaster. The theming looks great. I don't really have anything else to say except for I can't wait until they announce this coaster.
Awesome. And how about you, Fluffy?
I can't really say much about this since I'm not as up to date as you guys are, but
Yeah, no worries.
Rest in peace, Firekill. Apparently that's something that's getting removed. Whatever it is, it's going to be a huge coaster. Yeah, it's going to be a polar dive.
A polar dive?
Polar dive. 500 feet tall. Oh yeah. But no, I think it's gonna be up there, in height. I think it's gonna definitely be from. I'm gonna say it's gonna be from between 260 to 285 ish. I think it'll be around that, about that height. And depending on the drop, on how tall the drop is going to be, and like basically just what the drop height's going to be, it could actually be, it could possibly just get to a giga dive. Who knows? I'm not too sure.
I have to read this comment. Fury 3-2 dive. Oh my god.
No.
Okay.
No, you should have said the train's wow comment.
That was funny.
Not much going on here because, to be honest, I think a lot of people are starting to get really comfortable with the idea of a really tall dive coaster coming. Again, I have a video that I'm going to work on. I just need a little more evidence from Magic Mountain before I do it. I have a feeling there's a reason Wonderland's going so high with this dive coaster. Trains, wow, oxygen masks instead of VR goggles. So that brings us to our question period. So anyone have any questions for the group of us? Top thrill divester.
Oh my god. I told them to call it Beached Whale the ride, but they don't want me to.
Oh? Beached Whale the ride?
Okay. So what's going on with Flight Deck? So Flight Deck was just experiencing normal downtime. The ride, just from what we understand, was having problems with its lift hill. Again, anything that we say doesn't come from the park. So take what we say with a grain of salt until the park announces it. But we were hearing the ride was just having difficulties with the lift hill and it was down for a couple days. That's why some people were commenting like they got on it here and there on certain days because they would try and open it and then would go back down. But yeah, it is, as of last night, back up and running successfully, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm. I feel bad for the people on Friday who played the Plinko game outside of Leviathan and got like 3 or 4 boarding passes for that ride.
Oof.
Any reason Canada's Wonderland hasn't started teasing yet? Well,
because we are the teasing campaign.
I don't necessarily know if they have to start teasing at this point. I feel like we hijacked that from them. I'm kidding. From what I've heard, teasing is going to start on Saturday. This Saturday coming up, it will start with the launch of the Canada Festival, and that makes sense if this is Canadian themed, right? So I am going to be there every day looking for teasers. I think they're going to be hidden really well at first. So keep your eyes open. I'm going to need as much help as possible because they might get really sneaky since we know a lot of the ride details already. How many footers does Behemoth have? I have no idea. How many footers does Behemoth have?
Someone count.
I found a question earlier. So Brendan, do you prefer chicken or salmon on your salad?
I just read that as you were reading it. Chicken.
What on the salad?
Do you guys prefer chicken or salmon? Everyone answer.
Chicken.
Fluffy said.
I just eat salad with like the lettuce and the French dressings. So
I think Eastern says salmon because he's a whale.
Oh.
More French stuff than I do.
It reminds him. It reminds him of his home.
Who owns the land beside Wonderland? The hospital.
I love how everyone's typing in the comments. Chicken, the salmon.
I own it.
Kennywood Mac Hyper Looping Coaster. USA Today readers voted Magic Mountain the best amusement / theme park in the nation. Cedar Point came second.
Oh,
Ooh, dethroned.
Wow.
someone said human meat.
Thrill Warrior, have you been on Steel Vengeance yet? Canadiana Dive. I'm not really a fan of dive coasters for their repetitive layout. In your opinion, how different do you think the layout will be of this dive compared to others? William, that's actually a really good question. So most dive coasters work in a really small plot of land and they're condensed. If you've noticed the construction plot of land that Wonderland's working with, it's really drawn out. In fact, it got a lot larger than even I was expecting now that it's incorporating a bit of Whitewater Canyon's forest again. And it looks like, I can't confirm yet, but it looks like it's about double the support columns of Valraven. So these are all interesting things to pay attention to because this is suggesting a very unique layout. It has a lot of rides to work its way in and around. Do you guys have anything to say about any of these yet?
I just saw Gravity Max at Canada's Wonderland, and I'm dying inside.
This is compared to the 86 shows you think Canada's running coasters. Most the Giga and the Hyper at Wonderland have more than 86 footers, but 86 footers for a dive coaster is a lot.
Yeah.
I'm
Didn't
99.
Around,
Oh, what?
Didn't Valraven have around like 50 to 60 footers? Or that might have been like 60 or 70.
It was 60 or something, yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that this thing has over
Hospital
100.
themed coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that this coaster might have over 100 footers. A lot.
I'm 99.9% sure these guys are the teaser campaign. Everyone's responding to the chicken or salmon now.
Oh, you're behind then. Everyone's starting to talk about that hospital.
I'm trying to read everyone's comments that are you focusing? I got really far behind. Okay. Hospital themed coaster. Do you see Wonderland getting a winged? I do see Wonderland getting a wing down the road, yeah.
Someone said RMC Mindbuster.
How do you think the theme of Carowinds Mac multi-launch coaster will work out? I think are you guys seeing what they're installing? They're installing so much water work, like water mains and all that.
I'll tell you this much: if Cedar Frick could do Incredible coaster, they could definitely. I'd say that depending on their level of theming, the way that they've actually wanting to bring back theming to the every coaster now, who knows? We could actually start to be seeing better theming than the Incredible coaster, to be honest.
Ooh, someone asked a really good question that I need to answer because a lot of the Cedar Point fanboys are asking me this. And it's totally fine to ask me this. I've said in all my videos, ask me questions. I want people to hold me accountable. Why would Cedar Fair want to break their own record? Great question. So, in fact, I thought this way too until the last stockholders call that just happened a week ago. So on the call, they said a new coaster that they build is only good for the park for 1 to 2 years. And then its draw runs out. It's not selling them season passes anymore. So Valraven's in its 3rd year. It didn't win over the enthusiast community that well, and people weren't that impressed. So the GP love it. It's a great coaster. But Wonderland taking that record now and beating it for its own season pass sales at a busier park is a smart move business-wise. And I think Cedar Fair is moving away from that. Cedar Point must hold all the records. And I mean, Fury's a classic example of that. Talk about RMC Mindbuster. I don't see any evidence of that yet. In fact, I just learned from TPM Vids. You all got to go check out his top 10 fastest coasters to the park video that just released, that they actually just installed more padding in the seats and all that recently. So that also adds to like the possibility of it being RMC sometime soon. A little less likely.
Now that you mentioned there was more padding in the seats, I noticed that the other day. So
maybe that's why everyone's saying they're having a much better ride this season, eh?
Yeah. That's why I must like the back row now.
Wow.
When do we know what it is? We'll know August 16th what the coaster is if we don't crack it sooner.
Oh, I can't.
Convince me to subscribe. Go. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna like convince you to subscribe. I mean, I feel like we're a really good channel. We're trying to branch out to the US. But if you feel bored by our content, definitely don't subscribe to us if you find us boring. I'm just here to provide rumors and speculation and a channel that mixes that with evidence, and then weekly updates on top of that. That's all I have to offer.
I don't think you convinced them.
I would say you get updates on Wonderland's new coaster. How many? Oh, I don't know how many footers those coasters have. I'm sorry. The first A of the stream. Are you focusing? Oh, do we find out what it is in July? No, we'll find out in August 16th is when they announce it. I write it last year. What Cedar Park? What Cedar Park do you see getting a dive next? Carowinds. I don't know why. I just feel like Carowinds is the next.
I feel like Valley Fair, or not Valley Fair, Worlds of Fun or Dorney is going to get like a smaller dive coaster. So that's possible.
How do you Canadians type out A? It's A as in EH. A? But if we're spelling A in words, it's A. Like A, just A. Convinced. Awesome.
Oh my god. Oh, that was fluffy.
What will the name be? Honestly, okay. We actually have someone working on a funny animation for you guys. I'll give you a little teaser. I feel like this channel is going full out with this stuff. But someone's building literally an animation of Ziz and a water tower. If you remember the water tower theming in the backlot area, the Canadian water tower, fighting it out for who's going to be the theming of the ride. So stay tuned for that because we've gone full out on this channel now.
Oh, wow.
Cedar Park. Oh, okay, I have to catch up. Wow, people are commenting a lot. Do you think Valraven did not win over Enthusiast, but over because the height is pretty generic? I feel like Valraven didn't win over the Enthusiast because Cedar Point is known for like wow, and Valraven was just like cool for enthusiasts. It was like cool. Like you guys just beat the record by a bit, cool, but it lacked the tunnel and it lacked the splashdown, and I think that's what really lost the enthusiasts. If I had to guess, what would you guys say about that?
I love Valraven, so I don't care.
I love Valraven too.
I would say a common problem with a lot of enthusiasts are the restraints. A lot of enthusiasts don't like the best restraints that are on Banshee and now Valraven. That's what I've heard a lot. Like people would much rather have the restraint, like the original over-the-shoulder restraint of like Griffin or Sheikra. That people don't like the vest restraints because they tighten up and it's like it can be really uncomfortable. Now I've ridden Valraven and I didn't think the restraints were that bad. So for me personally, I didn't have an issue with it. So I actually quite really enjoyed the ride.
Okay, we have to speed this up. I'm getting so far behind on questions.
Oh yeah, but
anyone else quickly?
This is though like
what?
What's so bad about those harnesses though? Like, I don't have an issue with them. But anyway.
How do you feel about SeaWorld Park making a theme park company making a comeback? I think it's great. And I think that them building roller coasters and moving towards a theme park is going to help them greatly. What about you guys?
Yep.
I'm just glad that SeaWorld is trying to improve, honestly. And, you know, SeaWorld.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Any news about the arcades at Wonderland? They are all good and functioning. I am a time traveler, and Canada's Wonderland is bringing Canadiana-themed Ingretta coaster, but better than Disney. Win-win.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Intimidator 30 dive. The name will be Canadian Gold, Giga 43 free spin. USA love Trump. Okay. Cedar Park, not says. We don't get into that stuff, guys.
I actually just found something on Reddit. Apparently, Incredicoaster removed the loop and then replaced it with a brand new one to smooth it out. If they literally retract the loop, why couldn't they just retract the whole coaster? I
Well,
mean, like, this is Disney. I mean, like what Brendan was saying, they couldn't at least paint it over. They didn't even have to retract it. They just had to repaint it.
yeah, but also for that retrack, that was only one section of the ride, and Incredicoaster is over 6,000 feet long. So
Just repaint
retracting-
it.
Fail.
Yeah, for all that, yeah, just repaint it. You don't have to retrack the entire ride.
A lot of people complaining about the restraints on Valraven. Thriller says he loves the best restraints. Shikra is the best dive coaster. I've hearing that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
RMC flight deck. Would another coaster fit into Wonderland? Lots of coasters will fit into Wonderland. In fact, I think there's a GCI location perfect. And I'll eventually make a video about that. But right now we're focusing on 2019. Is it Ziz? It's a tough one to call, but I really don't think so anymore unless they were to be like Ziz with like Canadian theming left, right, and center somehow. Do you think Kings Island will get a B&M or T-Rex Giga? Okay, we can all answer this. I don't know if it's going to be a T-Rex, but I think their next coaster might be RMC just because of who was on site. What about you guys quickly, please?
B&M Giga.
B&M Giga or RMC T-Rex.
Oh, okay. And you, Puppy?
Oh.
Wood dive.
Oh yeah, I'm muted. I said B&M.
Okay.
I've been talking this whole time and not even just like muted.
Giga family coaster. On the Incredicoaster, your stuff has to stay in the cart. Would stuff drop it? Okay, what do you think Cedar Point next coaster will be after 2020? All right, after 20, this is a good question. After 2020, what do you think the next coaster will be? I think if it's a GCI, it'll be a flyer. If it's a flyer, it'll be a GCI.
Yeah, at this point. They need another good wooden coaster, and they need another B&M. And you know, if they get the flyer, they're gonna get the GCI. If they get the GCI, they're gonna get the flyer.
Are you all Canadian or I live in California? It's good times. Fluffy is from California.
Hey.
Brendan's gonna say I'm French Canadian, and then I'm gonna get triggered.
GCI over Whitewater Canyon. Yes. It's just in the middle of the park. Oh my God, there's so many questions. How many people are in here? 60, that's why. All right. I think that's pretty much it. Again, we have Discord. Feel free to come into Discord and chat with us. We're always in there.
We're at the hour mark.
Woohoo.
I just wanted to say so. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We do this every Sunday around 8:30 p.m. Sometimes the time might change slightly. We'll definitely post on Instagram if it does. But these are every Sunday. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good one.
See you all later. Bye.